love Horace Vandergelder? No, Minnie, I don't. Peter Molloy, God rest him, was my fair share of love, and I'm not saying I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman, as long as it was true love. And it was that. Men, look, there's two men staring in the shop. Men? Why, I do believe they mean to come in here. Men? In the shop? What shall we do? Do? Why, we flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one. Mr. Molloy, and you and I talk about love. Love enough I've had. It's a bit of an adventure I could do with now. We'll get them all heated up, and then we'll drop them cold. It'll be good practice for married life. Now, you go back and work. I know some ways we can perk up our appearances. Plus, the weight will only make them more nervous and easier for us. So if you say vampire, I'll scream. Vampire! Ah!
Oh, what can an adventure out of this yet, Barnaby? All day long we wander around New York and nothing happens. And we come to the quietest street in all the city and suddenly...
Vandergelder.
Oh, he's still out there. Go check.
He's sitting on that bench right there. Are you sure this is an adventure, Cornelius?
You don't have to ask, Barnaby. When you're in one, you'll know it. How much money you have left?
Not much. 40 cents for the train back, 30 cents for dinner, and 20 cents to see the whale. 90 cents. Why?
When those ladies come out, we're going to have to pretend to be customers. Customers! That's it! Maybe the best thing to do is make them think we're rich. That way we don't have to spend any money. We're two men about town looking for hats for ladies. Oh, good afternoon, Mrs.
Molloy.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Detective.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Now, what can I do for you today?
Oh, you see, we're two ladies about town. We want a hat. For a lady, of course. And everyone said to go to Mrs. Molloy because she's so pretty. I mean, her hats are so pretty.
And so reasonable, as in under $1 would leave us enough to see the whale.
You've got to pay him no mind, man. You see, he's come all the way from Yonkers to see the stuffed whale, and he's all excited. Just keep an eye on the street, Barnaby, and maybe you'll see it pass by.
Is it big and black with mean little red eyes?
Yes.
It's sitting right on the bench.
Excuse me, did you say Yonkers, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And pardon me for saying this, but you should see Yonkers, too. By that I mean perhaps Mr. Molloy would also like to see Yonkers.
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
More? Barnaby, she's a widow! I mean, that's awful, man. I'm sure Mr. Molloy would have enjoyed Yonkers, especially in that act. On you, of course. Not Mr. Molloy. May he rest in peace. You're a Catholic, aren't you? Well, if you are, don't let them worry you. I'd be willing to change. Mr. Molloy, if you should ever have a Sunday free, I'd be more than willing to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Hackle, I may be in Yonkers sooner than you think.
Oh, really?
You see, I have a friend who lives in Yonkers.
You do?
Perhaps you know him.
Perhaps we do.
Although it's usually silly to ask in cases like this, isn't it?
Yes.
So, Mr. Vandergelder,
Horace? Vandergelder?
Of Vandergelder's A&B?
do you know him?
No.
Mr. Vandergelder's a substantial man. Well liked, they tell me.
A lovely man, Mrs. Molloy. Simply lovely. Only one fault as far as I know. He's hard as nails.
Cornelius, I think...
Now, maybe your friend might like
Look out!
Begging your pardon, Mrs. Molloy.
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
Oh, this Mrs. Molloy. We'll explain later.
Come on, out of there! Miss!
We're as innocent as could be, Mrs. Molloy. Really?
Now, really, Mr. Hackle, Mr. Butler, I cannot have this. Mr. Vandergelder.
Mrs. Molloy, have you seen Mrs. Levi? She was supposed to meet me on that bench 10 minutes ago. Well, she can just go on with Corey if she comes. And I make an appointment, I like people to be on time. Here's something for you. Chocolate-covered peanuts unshelled. That's the expensive kind. Did I just see you talking with two men?
Men? Men, Mr. Vandergelder. Now, what would men be doing in a woman's hat shop? Now, why don't I show you my workroom? I'm so anxious
I
for you.
saw it last week.
So you did. Well, hello, Mr. Vandergelder. How is the hay and feed business? I hear you have two
friend.
Well, you see, he,
He?
a customer, Mr. Vandergelder, somebody quite well-to-do. In fact, he was just in here buying hats for ladies. Perhaps you know him, although it's usually silly to ask in cases like this. It's a Cornelius Hackle.
Did you just say Hackle?
Why, yes, I did. Do you?
He happens to be my head clerk is all. Mrs. Molloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm going to give it to you. Why shouldn't you know Cornelius Hackle? Everyone in New York knows Cornelius Hackle. Why, he's here at the opera and all the fashionable homes. He's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
Impossible. He's only got $146.35 and I keep it in my safe.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The canal! Both.
It ain't the same man.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle. And who dressed up as a waiter at the Fifth Avenue Hotel and dropped an oyster down Mrs. Astor's? No, I can't say it, but it was Cornelius Hackle. He's the playboy of New York. Now, Irene, don't deny it. I can see you were as taken with him as everybody else.
Dolly, what do you say? I've only met him once in my life. Excuse me, Dolly. Excuse me. Of course. Thank you. Oh, Minnie, hold your tongue. There's a man in there.
Mrs. Molloy, there's a man in that closet.
No, Mr. Vandergelder, you can't. It's too dangerous.
No man in that closet. Don't scare me. It's clear I'll stand aside.
No man, indeed. I'm sure you'd make short work of any man. Those muscles, I see them now. Under your coat, rippling back and forth. Ripple, 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 back and
For the
forth.
last time, stand aside.
Stand indeed. That's exactly what the law courts will want to know when you've been accused of entering that closet without a warrant. I mean, what do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for.